welcome here in Liverpool at the 53rd Iatefl web conference. Sorry, not web conference. Welcome to the 53rd Iatefl conference here in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Delighted to welcome Mario Rinvolucri, is that correct? To tell us a little bit about your journey in ELT, what's your professional background, and what brings you now to Liverpool?
Well, Liverpool was my mother's native town.
Oh.
So in a way, and I was brought up in North Wales, so Liverpool was a place you came to if you'd been good to spend your Christmas money.
All right.
I started teaching English as a foreign language after having worked for 1 year in Reuters in the central office in London, the big news agency. And then I got a commission from the Tablet, a Roman Catholic magazine, to go to Greece and report on ecclesiastical affairs.
All right.
Wasn't making enough money and thought, what can an English guy do in Athens? Oh, he can teach.
Wonderful.
So I joined a school. The owner was a syntagmatarchis, a colonel in the Greek, ex-colonel in the Greek army. He knew nothing about language teaching. And his director of studies in the central Athens branch was a silversmith from London. He also knew nothing about English language teaching. I didn't either. And it was an absolute disaster in one class. In the central Athens, they were tired shop girls, and I didn't know which way to hold the textbook.
All right.
Upside down, inside out. I really didn't know anything. I also had a class of university students who were doing the GCSE, the preparation for the Cambridge, the lower exam, and I got on with those people. They were like me. They were about my age. I still remember some of the names of that first class.
That was your first experience. So how many years is that spanning your professional career?
Well, that goes from 1963 up till today, which is a long, long time.
And where has that journey taken you to? What has been
It's taken me, first of all, to Canterbury, to Pilgrims, which has become a quite fairly well-known training centre, certainly across Europe. Not well known in places like China because it's so huge. And that has been a very exciting journey.
Okay.
Because I've learnt enormously from colleagues. You're talking to one person, but in my mind there are so many colleagues' voices giving me good and bad advice. And often I took the advice and benefited enormously. I'll just give you one example. An American who'd just come back from doing a BA in the States, and he came to an afternoon workshop I gave on creative writing. And I was in late 20s then, very proud of myself. I'd done some good exercise that afternoon. And he drank his coffee, and then he said, Mario, there's a guy in New York who was teaching Hispanic kids. He used all the tricks he knew, and nothing worked. He knew that if he didn't teach them some literacy in reading and writing, they would be like their fathers, dustbin collectors. And what he did was to start writing letters, individual letters, to his 30 disorderly Spanish-speaking kids, and they had to reply to each of his letters.
All right.
And this became a lifelong illness in my teaching life. I've always, since then, imitated him. I wrote letters to my students. I'm doing a workshop on this later tomorrow evening.
Wonderful.
And yeah, wonderful, but it took 2 to 3 hours every day I taught. And did the same with teacher trainees.
And what was the response of the students?
The response of the students, as you can guess, is very varied. Some people were suspicious about my invading their lives. Some people were very cross with me because I absolutely refused to correct their mistakes. What I did was to give them sometimes a reformulation of what they had said, but never any red pencil, any red on their letters, ever. I remember a young guy from Argentina, from the Argentine, who was a high-level musician working in Vienna in training, and he said, but if my music teachers didn't correct me instantly and constantly, I wouldn't learn to become a master musician. And I said, well, in language it may be a little different. You didn't learn your perfect Spanish by being corrected by mum and dad. You got reformulated by them. And that's what I'm doing to you now. He wasn't satisfied.
And with your wonderful, extensive experience in that field,
yeah,
what advice would you give to younger teachers, trainee teachers who go into, just go abroad, first time, first job?
Oh, you're thinking about people from an English-speaking country here, are you? In my category, because it's different. It varies.
Okay.
If I'm talking about native speakers of English who want to go away from their environment or to work with refugees in their environment, I would suggest that immediate, natural curiosity and interest in the people you meet doing the job is vital. At the beginning, just before we started this interview, I asked you two or three questions about,
that was amazing.
in order for myself to get geographical rapport with you.
Yeah.
So as soon as I knew you come from Hessen, and I knew some central people in the Volkshochschule in Hessen, and then Hessische people went to my part of Chile, where I spent 2 years, important years, and therefore, though I don't know you, in a sort of funny way, I feel that I've landed on a beach of a continent. But at least I'm on the beach.
I loved it. I really
that's not just for you, that's a state of mind.
And where do you live now?
I live in a place called Faversham, which is 10 miles from Canterbury.
Oh, which is Iatefl headquarters.
That's right, by chance, in an industrial estate.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can I just ask you, if you could shape a little bit the future of the Iatefl organization, or advise them on what to do in future, or how to change towards the future, what would you say?
One of the problems that Iatefl faces is its immense success, and the fact that it's grown enormously. And it's always, since the time that I knew it, been more chiefs and less Indians.
Okay.
And I think there should be many more Indians. But at the prices that are being charged today, and maybe must be charged today, that's very difficult. So I don't bring a message of hope here. The more expensive Iatefl becomes, the more it will be. It will have to be expensive.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure to be with you.
Good.